Great. It does look like we're live, so we're going to go ahead and get kicked off and started. It is already 1 o'clock on this Friday, and I feel like this week went by. It was one of those weird ones where you feel like it's taking a while, but it also went by really fast when it got to Thursday. So, reintroducing myself to you, I am Juliet Abdel, aka the Self-Care Boss. I come to you every Friday at 1 p.m. Mountain Time, and our topic is always around either health or wealth. We have speakers that are in the wellness industry, speaking tips, speaking their story, and things that they enjoy doing, and some tips that you can walk away with. And then we, of course, also will sometimes have guests that are from the business world. So all things entrepreneurship, how they got started, why they got started, tips that you can implement around wellness, and all of that great stuff. So before I get started, I always like to share like a small little nugget that hopefully you can either learn from or commiserate in my misery with me. But I parked my car, and this time I backed in. I thought I was super slick when I was doing this in my parking garage, and I was like, oh, I backed in like a pro. I'm getting out today, and I slowly move my car, and I'm like, oh, that sounds like it's maybe ice that's crinkling. It's not. It's my car as it's scraping the little yellow paint beside me. I'm laughing about it because I'm like, at least it didn't get dented. Like, it's just the paint, and I can hopefully wash it or do something. So if anyone has tips on what I can do to get this yellow random paint spots off my gray car, type it in the comments chat. Which leads me to tell you that we love engaging with you. Make sure that you comment any questions, any thoughts, your excitement for the weekend maybe, or maybe what you learn on today's broadcast. You can hit the share button, which we always encourage, so that others can see that we're live. And be sure to like our video so that it does give us a nice positive message, but it allows me to know what content you enjoyed the most and who to bring back, or which items to bring back for you. All right, so that's my intro for today's discussion. Today, of course, is our graphic and our promo material illustrated. We have Mackenzie, and I've known Mackenzie for almost, I think, about 2 years now.
I think so.
Yeah, so very excited to have you on here.
Thank you.
For people that don't know you, let's have them get to know who is Mackenzie. Are you from Colorado, or are you here temporarily? Let's get a quick update on who you are.
Thank you so much for having me. Yeah. I am so excited to share. I am Mackenzie. I am born and raised from Colorado. We did move to Indiana, so I went to middle school and high school in Indianapolis, but we did all come back. So I still can claim native, even though a few years were away. My family is in Colorado. My brother and his wife, they're up north in Berthoud, Colorado, so we're spread out a little bit. I am married to a wonderful, tall, handsome hunk that I love, and we have 2 dogs, and he's a native also, and so we love the outdoor Colorado lifestyle. We love the mountains in the summer, and just any excuse to get outside and just soak up the sunshine, we absolutely love. I do think there's a little different appreciation for living in Colorado when you do move away and you come back, and you have that difference to compare, but we also just love movies and relaxing, and
that's awesome. So hopefully your hubby will tune in and then hear this amazing compliment that you gave him, you know, and reciprocate that later for you. But I always say, you know, that who you surround yourself with is such an important part in where you wind up and the activities that you enjoy. And it sounds like you found someone who's a nice fit for the outdoor, the healthier lifestyle, and some of those elements that Colorado really brings to people and brings to life.
Absolutely.
So you and I met, and I'm trying to think back to where it was, and I don't even know, because we've woven together over the years, and our cross have passed the more that we delve into wellness. And so I want people to know I have branded you because your title is Regional Vice President. And the last episode that I was on, I shared that I was bringing a friend of mine. I said all these great things, and then I said, I don't know what's in her drink, but it is crack cocaine. Like, she is going at 150 miles an hour. So for those people that are curious, if you really are in that industry or where you get that energy, let's give them, you know, professionally, what do you do?
So I'm with you. I think that it's so important to surround yourself with those people, and I do think that's what kind of gravitated us towards each other for sure. I am a regional vice president with a health and wellness company called Arbonne. It's been around for 40 years, which is pretty cool. And what we do is we just give another option for clean, safe, healthy products that you can put in or on your body. And so I get to educate people on kind of what may or may not be working for them. I get to coach them through a really cool program called our 30 Days to Healthy Living to help them learn how good they are actually meant to feel in their own bodies. And then there also is a business side attached that if someone wants to run with that, they are more than welcome to. And it's pretty funny because I actually came into Arbonne, into this industry, into this company, because I was just looking for the business side. A friend of mine was living her best life, and health and wellness was nowhere on my radar. And so to be able to grab a hold of the importance of this and fall in love with this and have it actually become a passion of mine has been quite the journey.
Yeah, it is huge. And so let's backtrack for folks so that they can know, like, how did you find out about this, this company? But more importantly, what made you want to change into a healthier version? Like, did you have an incident happen with you? Did you see someone else in your life? Or let's walk through why choose health? Because a lot of us know that we should be healthy, right? Like, we should be doing things a little different. We should be sleeping more. We should be, but then you don't do it unless you're pushed to, right? And so what was that push or that trigger for you?
So for me, like I said, I just kind of gravitated towards this company because of the lifestyle and the career path that was attached to it. I had never tried a product. I had no idea what it entailed. I just thought, I'm going to be working for some boss for some job forever. And so realizing, oh my gosh, this healthy living piece is actually a piece of the puzzle. I'm going to have to grab a hold of this. But it was the biggest blessing in disguise because for me, yes, I do think we do know those things, but it can seem so overwhelming. It can seem daunting. There's so much information out there. It's almost paralyzing to know what actually is worthwhile, what to implement, and when and how. And so the joke for me is I'm actually the Cheez-Its and wine girl. I would just live off of coffee during the days, and usually at my office there'd be bagels in the break room, or somebody's birthday there'd be birthday cake, or I'd be starving by the end of the day, so I'd come home and it'd be easier and fast and cheap to just open a box of Cheez-Its and drink some wine and run on the treadmill the next morning, right? And so health and wellness was nowhere on my radar, but I did care about the size of my jeans, and I did care about those other things that I think we think do matter. And so I didn't even realize there was a difference between health and wellness and comparing yourself to other people or what that entails until I actually dove into it, kind of dug into the difference in what it means to fuel your body and nutrition versus just calories and hormones and balancing and blood sugars, and just realizing there's a way to keep it simple and there's a way to make it doable for the everyday person. And just going through my own personal journey of falling in love with it, and then also turning around and helping other people see those transformations and be nicer to their spouses or not get annoyed by the kids or whatever it might be. Just the benefits of a daily life, just feeling good and mental clarity and what can come with that. It just like fires me up even more.
And there is that correlation, like you're saying, between being a healthier version, right, and nutritionally well, and how that plays in so many parts of your life.
Absolutely. I think so many of us, like me in the beginning, I was just trying to get through the day, trying to get to the weekend, trying to get to Mondays. And when you're exhausted or you don't feel good or you have headaches or you're kind of just dragged down and you're kind of self-sabotaging yourself. And when you actually feel good and you're mentally clear and you're physically have energy and you've slept well, you can be present and you can enjoy moments and you can go for more and you can have some courage to do a little bit more than you might when you're just like, gosh, I just need that other cup of coffee.
Yeah, and so you mentioned a 30-day that you try and incorporate frequently to help people figure out where, right? Because that was one of your biggest things, was this overwhelming, where do I even get started? Where do I go? How do I even implement this? And so are you seeing more people, and we see this in the gym, right? They make this resolution to be healthy, and the definition of health varies, right? So for us, as we're talking about health and wellness, it's the whole thing, right? For others, it could be getting on that treadmill and changing that size from a 12 to a 10 or whatever else that they're trying to shoot for, but usually it starts waning down, right? And that usually happens in the earlier part of the year. Is that, how do you help people overcome that downfall, right? Like that energy that they feel like, okay, this isn't getting me that instant results necessarily, or, you know, all these other factors, my kids that are needing me, or I've got this headache, I'm already not feeling well, or all of these obstacles that start getting to them that stops them from staying on this path.
I think that's so normal with anything, right? We can have these high expectations and have these big goals, and a few days in, we're like, screw it. You know, it wasn't that bad to begin with. I think I'm okay. But I think what's powerful with this is that it's about progress, not perfection. And so just, of course, give yourself some grace and some love. Do have those goals and set them. But I think what is great is to just have that accountability buddy. Have a coach. Have a program that you can follow and some simple steps that you can engage with, and just realizing so much more is going to happen in the kitchen with your transformation than ever in the gym or anywhere else. And for me especially, I just thought as long as I ran on the treadmill, I could eat or drink whatever I wanted, but you can't out exercise a bad diet. And so just learning how to fuel your body to eat clean, whole, nutritious foods, and to really just turn that product or that piece of food or whatever around and look at the ingredients instead of just whatever the front of the label is trying to convince you of, and just learning some tips and tricks where you can say, you know what, this is a little victory. I actually feel good, or you know I can do this, and not compare yourself, but just really learning. It can be simple. I can stay on track. If I keep going, I will see results.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, so let's break down some of these tips that you just answered with, I feel like a gold answer right now, like it is solid full of tips that they can implement. And so I want to break that down.
Excited.
I know. Like, I want to break that down. So accountability partner. Does this have to be someone that's paid? Like, is it supposed to be someone in your household? Like, what are the criteria that you personally look for in someone that would help you stay accountable to that health goal?
I think a wonderful accountability buddy is someone who also wants to pull greatness or potential out of you or out of themselves. We all have that friend who we're going to be like, you know what, I don't feel like sticking to this. Do you want to go grab pizza or something? We all have that friend that would be like, sweet, let's go, you know, and totally let you crash. And that's nice sometimes, and it's okay once in a while, but to really have someone that would say, nope, we're going for this, and we're going to stick to it together. And then also I think reciprocating that as well. So it can be a spouse or a family member. I think it's easier in the same house when you can cook one big healthy, delicious meal everyone can enjoy, instead of looking at someone else eating something, wishing you had that. If it's around, I'll eat it. So
totally.
So if it's someone in your home or even someone from work, I think workplaces can be just, there's so much temptation between the birthday cakes, the bagels, between
and when you start eating healthy, it's like everyone's birthday, right?
Everyone's birthday. Or let's go to lunch here, or totally. And so just someone, I think, consistent, that also you can just build it together and go for it together and stay on top of it with each other. And not be afraid to be that coach. We all need a cheerleader, but you also need that coaching.
Right, yeah, you have to kind
too.
of play off of each other, because like you said, some days that person may need you to be the one that amps them up, or vice versa, and really having someone that's going to push you, because those other ones are good, that are like, okay, let's go do that. Like, you need to have a diversity of people around you, and you want those people that, you know, if you are feeling down, like, I've got a great friend of mine from high school. I've had her for decades now, right? But it's always weird, because we'll go for a long period of time. It's kind of like you and I, and we'll pick up, and it's like, oh my gosh, it's been how long since we last saw each other? But her life is like almost simultaneously going through the ups and the downs with me, right? And so we lean on each other during those moments heavily, because we know that we can relate to each other during that. And similarly, you can find someone that's in that health arena and really can lift you and pick you up.
And I think it's nice in any arena of your life to find someone who's maybe 1 or 2 or 10 steps ahead of you, because there can also just be small tweaks somewhere where they can say, I see you doing this, this is fantastic, but maybe this might work better for you or help you stay on track.
Yeah, the outside perspective.
And then also, I think turning around and helping someone else, you feel like, I actually know what I'm doing, you know, because you're always 1 or 2 steps ahead of someone else too.
Yeah, for sure. Everyone is in a different place. Yeah. So I was going to get back to the original tips that you gave, but then you said, in your answer, you said something, and I was like, oh my gosh, here's another one, asterisk, let me get back to it. So my mind's like jumping from one to the next. Hopefully you guys are following this thought process. But you mentioned it's easier when they're at home, right? And when the cooking and the food's right there in front of you. Now, that's also a complaint that I often hear with people, right? And that's, I'm cooking for just one person, or like, you know, it's just me. Like, how do they get in that mindset of it's okay to just cook for one person? Like, not all cooking has to be a feast, right? Like, but what are some simple, maybe kitchen hacks, as you were sharing? Like, a lot of what you eat matters for them to consider.
So for what you eat matters, what we have is this. I was never a protein shake girl. Never once. But if you think of a protein shake like your plate, you want to have your protein, your greens, your carbs, your fats. And so what I love about a delicious, clean protein shake is that it fulfills you, and it's delicious, and it fills you up. And so you have your protein, you can throw in a handful of spinach for some greens, you can throw in some mixed berries for healthy carbs. And for a healthy fat, I love to do either half an avocado or a spoonful of almond butter to make it really creamy, almost like a Wendy's Frosty consistency.
You do. Oh my gosh, I've watched your videos. Yes.
And what I love about that is when I do have those, I am full, because I am fueled up. My body has the vitamins, the minerals, all the things it needs. Sometimes if we go to breakfast or brunch, I can order pancakes or eggs or bacon or toast, but in an hour or two, I'm hungry again, and I feel like I need to snack, because I actually didn't give my body the nutrient density it needed. And so I love shakes just for busy, on the go, whether it's a full meal or not, you're satisfied. But also, as far as cooking, I think when you do cook clean, whole meals, you do hit a point where you're like, you know what, I'm satisfied, I'm full. And leftovers are a great option for lunch the next day, or, you know, mix it up and throw it on top of some greens for kind of a different take on a salad, or throw it in some, you know, clean tortillas for something else. Right, you can always mix and match. And so I don't think you have to consume all the food that you make at once, even though for me, portion control is real. Right? But I do think that's just the importance of learning to listen to your body, and knowing when you are done, and knowing when you are satisfied, and realizing just because it's in front of you, you don't have to eat it all, but there's going to be a point where you're like, you know what, I'm good, I'm satisfied, I'm fueled up. And if you do need something later, at least you have some clean options available there for you, and you can reach for them.
Yeah, I think those are all super beneficial. I'm with you on the portion control thing. Still working on that, right? But if it's all healthy stuff, then I feel better at least about splurging in that, because it's not it's a bag of chips that you're eating through, or the Cheez-Its that you're just like, oh my gosh,
you're not spiking your blood sugar,
no, you're causing the extra unnecessary effects of it. Goal setting was one of those items that you also mentioned to us, right? So having an accountability partner, having kind of a mindset of health and wellness, and then goal setting. Is that something that you constantly evaluate throughout the year with your health goals, or do you set one? Sometimes people have this goal that they set, and it's like a 50-pound weight loss, or hit this. Do you take that same approach for your health and wellness, or is that something you discourage when you work with people?
For me, I tend to not try to make them weight goals, because I think that can be something that can lead us in the wrong direction, versus kind of like what we said at the beginning. There's a difference between health and there's a difference between what the scale says, right? It doesn't share the whole picture. And so I can be working with someone, they can say, I just want a clear skin. And I'd be like, sweet, let's attack this gut health, because your gut health affects your skin and so much else. A goal might just be, you know what, I just want to have energy to keep up with my kids throughout the day. I don't want to have to live off of coffee or need a 2 o'clock nap every day. The goal might be you know what, I know I'm not where I used to be, or I'm not where I'm meant to be, and I do kind of have some big health goals as far as weight, or as far as medications, or as far as, like if I have energy, if I feel good about myself, if I'm depressed, that brain fog. And so the goals can really be very personal, and they can be big, but it's just nice to know, okay, I can reach for something. And when you have that why, you can overcome the ups and downs that are obvious to come, getting out of your comfort zone, creating new habits, and doing something unfamiliar. But what's great about it is once you start to see your skin clear up, you've already created some new healthy habits. Or once you start to have energy, you get addicted to, oh my gosh, what if I actually woke up early, or, I have lost some weight, I can really keep going, and I know I look good and I feel good regardless of my weight, but just to know, like, I am beautiful inside and out, no matter what. The good thing about just the goals where you start, they can kind of have a domino effect to where they actually lead to.
Right.
And if you do have big goals, you can stay on track. If it's something where you're like, I've hit this goal, I'm going to switch to an 80-20 lifestyle of healthy living, but give myself permission to enjoy when we're traveling, or it's date night, or so they can grow, even if they start small.
That's a great, and in an essence, you actually also touched on celebrating those small things, and your body will celebrate it for you, right? And so you do have this, it's almost like a second, like a dopamine release, right? Like once you're done working out, or once you are done like hitting a particular goal, or like, oh my gosh, I just did that, what's next, right? Like you're super motivated. So what does a day in your world look like? So because you live and breathe health and wellness, and so and I know that I personally creep on you, and so I see like what you're doing as soon as you get up, and like how your day is halfway in and then in the evening. But for others that are thinking this is they see you, they see how vibrant you are, your energy level, and then they're just like, I really want to embrace some of this. What are some of those things that you do on a daily basis that they might start learning from as well?
I am definitely a work in progress, like all of us, but some key things that really make a difference for me was starting a morning routine. I think just waking up and having that quiet time for prayer, for reflection, for, okay, what are my goals? Why does this matter to me at all? And just having a little quiet time makes such a difference before grabbing that cell phone, or turning on the TV, or just letting the world tell you all the things. Just listen to yourself and tune into yourself first. And then for me, I found that the coffee and the caffeine was not serving me. And so I stick with a detox tea in the morning that supports kidneys and liver, and then I add the crack juice as to that. So I still have my warm cup in the morning, which is wonderful. I do a green gut glow shot, which is the gut health of prebiotic, probiotic, and digestive enzymes. A scoop of 36 fruits and veggies, because none of us get enough fruits and veggies,
Right.
and a vegan collagen skin elixir, and a mind health sometimes, and that just kind of wakes me up. And so I know, regardless of what else the day throws my way, my gut health is good.
It's on point.
It's
Yeah,
on
well,
point.
you have like, you've stacked it already. You've given it all the vitamins that it needs, all the greens for the day, and you've given it additional things that you know with age, right? Like the more that we age, the more we lose some things like collagen, other factors like that.
Absolutely. And so that feels good. And so I will have a protein shake for breakfast, kind of like I described. I make it a meal replacement, so it's not just some protein and milk, but a meal replacement full shake. I am in a great habit of hitting the gym every day, or going for a walk outside, or meeting some friends to walk around the park just to do something active.
Right.
And I love that part of my day, because it used to be a part of my day that I had to do to almost, to undo something else I had done. And so now to just do it, to enjoy the movement, to see, gosh, I'm making progress in this area. And
it's
the
a
camaraderie.
Yes.
Yeah. And so that's a great part of my day. I like to read just a little bit, something inspirational or exciting. It just so you know when you're building something, when you just need to know, I'm not crazy, I can do this.
Absolutely. We all need those positive affirmations. It's so easy for us to have these negative thoughts creep in. I mean, it's just, life is almost designed that way, right? Like there's so many things that happen throughout your day that if you want it to be negative, you don't even have to try. It's the trying to be positive and to stay in this space and really keep following through. That's the part of life that really shows that you're living.
That's
right?
what takes hacking and habit stacking and intention for sure. And so then ideally I'll have a shake for lunch and a healthy, clean meal for dinner. I used to be a snacker. I used to think I had to snack, but it was honestly just because I was consuming calories. I was not consuming nutrition. And so I try to stick to my shakes and my clean dinner, and I have my fizz, which is my juice that gives me all the energy. But as long as those are kind of my staples, then if there is variety in the day, then it just makes it more exciting.
Right. Yeah. No, I think that's all great, and thank you for sharing. I know I was like, tell me what you do specifically, but I do think that some people wonder, like they see that halfway in your day you're doing this, but they don't see everything else that you have laid out. And that time in the morning, it does make a difference when you have some time for yourself before you help other people, before you take care of anyone else, right? Like you are focusing on setting the tone for your day and making that happen.
And I think it helps to hear it's normal, everyday things that are easy to do and easy not to do.
Yeah, totally.
And the more you do them, just like any other muscle, it becomes something that you look forward to and a part of your day that you enjoy, even if it's just 15 minutes or 2 minutes or an hour, whatever your schedule allows. It's doable.
Yeah, totally. So what has been something that you haven't enjoyed out of being healthy? I know I asked like the good stuff, right? And like we talked about the dopamine, your energy level, and hitting some of those goals that you have. What has been something that you're like, oh man, if I could change it, that you're still working on?
Oh man, I think so many of us, we compare, right? We should be further along in our journey than we are. I think we want results faster. We think things should magically disappear. And I also think just realizing it's okay to stay true to you, because we do have those friendships and those relationships, and they're just habits and it's just familiar, but to just order the same thing, or to just, whatever toxic habit it might be, to just fall into those familiar patterns, but to realize it's okay. I can switch up and switch to a salad instead of a pizza, or I can order a grilled chicken and instead of my fries, or just giving yourself permission to have a transformation and to step into something new and to stay true to it.
Yeah, totally. And it's hard. It is not. And those people that are around you, so if we talk about your circle of influence, did they all embrace this healthier you, or did you have to find your new tribe, that did?
I think it was a shock for my
Okay.
closest friends.
Right.
Because you just think you know someone,
Yeah,
right? And
totally.
and it wasn't bad, but they totally just knew I'd be more likely to be at happy hour than at the gym at 5 in the morning,
Yeah.
typically. And so just realizing that I love them, they love me, but how is that relationship going to change?
Yeah.
And it's okay for those certain relationships to change, and it's okay to outgrow people, and it's okay to give people permission to have space to grow and change and evolve. And those who really love you stay in your corner no matter what, and support you and encourage you and cheer you on, and you have to stay there for them, even though you're going through these changes and you are changing your priorities a little bit. Still cheer them on. But I think it's really cool because at the beginning we all get so nervous, like, what are they going to think of me, or
totally.
what is this going to look like, or is this going to be okay? But as time goes on, I do believe you inspire people to maybe grab a hold of their own journey, or be like, you know what, maybe I do want to switch things up for me, or at least they know who to turn to when they are ready to start their own journey as well.
That example
so
for
you
them.
can be that example. And so at first I might be like, oh my gosh, this is so weird. But then eventually you get to kind of be that person who can be a resource.
Sure.
And you're a resource for so many people. That's what people come to you for. I'm sure you know. You're always growing, you're always learning,
you
but
have to constantly
it's
moving.
so great to just know if there's someone you love, or a friend, or a stranger who is interested in it, you can say, hey, take it or leave it, but here's my experience.
Absolutely. Well, I know I've been grilling you with kind of questions that have come to my mind. Was there anything in particular you wanted to highlight, or you want me to just kind of keep going?
I'm just here excited to see it.
I know, it's been too long. Speaking of being healthy friendships.
This is usually us over lunch, so
I know. This is the catching up and everything.
Yes.
So there are a lot of products and a lot of things that are out there, right? And as you were sharing earlier, read the labels, read the ingredients. What other advice can you give to people that may be seeing things online, and they're quick fixes, or they're things that do have testimonials, but they're not necessarily a healthy approach to being well? There are a lot out there, so how do you filter the bad from the good and know what's right and wrong without trying those different types of, whether it's supplements that you're taking, or as you were sharing, the different proteins that are out there. There's so many. So where do you get started with that?
I agree. That's what felt daunting to me, because I would turn something around and I couldn't even pronounce half the words, and it was a paragraph of all these long words, and I didn't even know what they were. And whether it was my skincare or whatever, I just thought, this is too much, put it down, don't even bother. And so I think my big tips that I would share, one is, if you turn the product around and you can't recognize the ingredients, or there's 25 of them, your body probably can't process it. Our body is not designed to process fake ingredients. It doesn't know what to do with that. And so those are toxins in our body, and when toxins accumulate, right, that's when we can get sick, that's when things can go wrong. And so we want to kind of slow down, if not eliminate, the amount of toxins we're putting in our body, but then also support our elimination organs. And so we can kind of unclog the bathtub, so to speak.
Yeah, that's a good analogy.
And so we want to be able to just eat clean, whole foods. And so for that, I recommend to just stay on the outside perimeter of the grocery store. It's for natural foods that have been alive at some point. So you hit your veggies and your produce, you hit your meats, and you can see there all of the processed, fake, artificial ingredient foods tend to be in the middle aisles. So that helps keep it simple as well. I think just going for more clean, lean proteins and veggies is always a good go-to. It'll help you feel full. Just take a peek at that. and target your gut health. This was a world I was never introduced to before this journey, but our 80% of our body serotonin is in our gut, and 80% of our immune system is almost in our gut as well, and that affects our skin and our mood and our mental clarity and our happiness, our sleep, and just so much. And just by targeting that and taking care of that, you can see a world of difference. But I would also say whatever you grab a hold of, give it time. Give it at least 30 days. Give it at least 8 weeks. Because if you're trying to do a little bit of everything, I think that's when you can really stay stuck, or you can really plateau or get frustrated. And so if you find something that speaks to you, grab a hold of it, be coachable, do your best, but give it time.
Yeah, and I love that example of, try something and just try that something, right? And give it the full time that it's due, and if it doesn't, then you let it go, instead of having so many things that you're taking that you don't know what may be messing up your gut, or what may be messing with you, or that is not bringing results or ineffective.
Right. Yeah. Just looking at Instagram, it can be like, oh my gosh, I need to lift heavy. Oh my gosh, I need to walk. Oh my gosh, I need to eat this. Oh my gosh, I don't need to eat this, right? And so that for me is where it became so just confusing. And so just to keep it simple and just to keep it clean, and also to remember your skin.
Yeah.
I think we forget our skin is our body's largest organ. And so even if you're eating clean, trying to eat organic, watching all these things, if you're putting all these chemicals on your skin, it still can make you sick 10, 20, however many years down the road. And so just that holistic, healthy living approach, your mind, your body, your health, your wealth, your physical, your spirituality, all of that, just focusing on all of that, and then again, give it time.
So you also shared a couple more things that I'm like, oh my gosh, now we need to talk about these. I love the explanation of the grocery store, like shop the perimeters, right? And I had someone reach out to me with this question, so I gave them my advice, but I'm curious to hear yours, right? So produce goes bad.
Totally.
And so a lot of people are worried about that, and they're like, how do you store your produce, or how do you meal prep with it, and it not be all mushy or bad by the time you open it a couple of days from now?
For us, I bet your answer is way better, but for me, meal prepping can be a lot. I'm not even that advanced, so I don't, but what we do give weekly recipes and weekly grocery lists, so I don't go buy all the fruits, or I don't go buy all the veggies. For fruits, though, I do recommend frozen. Instagram, TikTok, they do have some great hacks on how to keep your avocados frozen or fresh. So there are some great tips out there. But I like to just say, this is my week. These are my 7 days. This is what I need. These are my meals, and stick with that. And so for us, I do find that it does last. And if I do know I need to eat these sooner in the week, save this for later in the week. Tacos you usually can put off until later in the week, right?
Yeah, totally. That's just a mix of whatever's
that's just whatever's left over, totally. But the fresh salads, or all of the fresh, so many things you can do with them now. Just 1 week at a time.
Similar. Yeah, that
works.
was definitely similar to my answer. It's like, I'm not, you don't need to buy for a couple weeks. You don't need to buy excessive amounts of parsley, or excessive, especially the things that you know you don't like. Like, why would you go get 3 stalks of celery when you hate celery, and you already know you're going to force yourself to eat some, right?
And I think that's back to having a program or an accountability buddy or a group that you can stay on track, because I do see how, if you're like, okay, if I need to eat healthy, I'm just going to buy all the healthy foods in the store, and then they're sitting in your fridge, and you're like, I don't even know what to do with them. I bought a jicama, and I was like, I just think, this would be so good, and it sat in my fridge.
Stop it.
And then I finally used like half of it, and then I was like, what, I probably don't need to do that, but I didn't know what to do with it, but so it just sat there. And
That's
so
hilarious.
I can see how it can totally be wasted.
I saw that, you know how you could get aloe vera, and I'm like, oh, this is supposed to be really great for you, and then it just stood there looking at it, and I'm sure people passing by, they're like, why isn't she moving? But it was like, how am I going to do this? Like, do I just open it up? It's going to be all sticky when I scrape it out. Then what do I put it in? Like, what do I do? How do I dispose it? So I just left it and I walked away.
Yes.
But you have to have those conversations, whether it's with someone else or with yourself, and really, and you walk yourself through it before you make that purchase.
Totally.
Yes. That's hilarious.
Yes.
So the understanding that's generally out there too is that healthier foods are more expensive than junk food, right? So how do you combat that? And for those that are tuned in, it was so funny because before we got started, our team here, him and I were talking, and Henry and I were talking, and we're like discussing eggs, right? And I'm sure you guys have seen all those egg memes that are out there with it like being so expensive and the little chickens all dressed up. And so, right, like that's an example of here's a product that a lot of people eat for health. Or as like a substitute for something in the morning, and now it's so much more expensive than what it used to be. So how do you combat the high dollar amount that might be associated, or the perceived high dollar amount that's out there? Like, is it fact? Is it fiction? And then if it is fact, how do you circumvent that?
I do say you have to do what's best for your family. You have to do what's right by you, obviously. For me, the funny thing about the eggs is we actually like tried these very nice eggs, and we're like, oh my gosh, these are so good. Like they tasted so good. I forget which ones they were.
Like
I think it was in a blue. Oh, like yes. And the shells were blue, and the yolk is super orange. Yes.
Oh, so good.
So good.
Yeah.
And so I think also that's part of that switch is, you know, am I eating to be skinny? Am I eating to be a certain weight? Am I eating for this? Or am I eating because this is delicious and it fuels my body and it's good for me and I love it? And so I do think there is a difference between paying for delicious good food. Does everything need to be organic? No. There's like a dirty dozen and different ways to figure that out. But I don't think you need to do the best of everything that you buy. But I do think it's worth that investment in, and realizing you're worth the investment, that what you put in your body makes a difference. If you had a very expensive racehorse or a very expensive race car,
you're gonna treat it great.
You would give it the best food or give it the best fuel, and to realize you're worth way more than a racehorse or a race car. And so to fuel yourself with good things too is totally okay, and it would just prevent those expensive hospital bills down the road, right? But also I do think with our program, with our 30 Days to Healthy Living, because you can get your protein, you can get your energy drinks, you can get your supplements and all those things, my clients tend to save money because they're not stopping at Chipotle for a $13 burrito bowl or a $7 Starbucks coffee. And so it's a little bit of an upfront investment, but over the month, you're not stopping for the Diet Coke or the gas station energy drink. And so there are different ways to go about it if it is an issue, for sure.
Yeah, there are ways that will kind of curb your natural tendency to overspend without realizing it, right? Because you don't realize that you might stop over and get a cup of coffee that's $5 or $7, as opposed to buying the can of coffee for $5 or $7. Like, even if it's the same exact product, you're not changing that, you're just kind of changing your behavior behind it, right? So that's an interesting. But you also go to the gym. You go to the gym all day, every day. Like, you're there lifting, you're there cardio, or what are you know?
I fell in love with, I played high school and basketball in high school. And so I fell in love with just feeling like an athlete. I think I love to feel athletic and active. And if I was invited to go do something, I wanted to be able to go do it. My brother played baseball, my family is a bunch of golfers, my husband works at a golf course, and so we are active, but I was never working out in the gym like I'm training for the Olympics. Like, I still am the awkward person in the gym who doesn't know how to maneuver most machines and fix the seat or fix the weights or but I do enjoy just putting on headphones and getting out of your mind and moving your body. And so even if it's just a walk outside. I did try the 75 hard last
Okay.
year.
You did. Did you?
I did complete it.
Okay.
But
Good
what
for
I
you.
fell in love with from that was just that time outside. And
Yeah.
so for me, a workout outside a day was just a walk outside.
Mhm.
And so getting that vitamin D, getting that fresh air,
Mhm.
having your feet hit the pavement and not a treadmill, it does fire you up in a different way, and it does give you clarity and just confidence, and you believe in your discipline a little bit more.
Yeah.
And so I think it doesn't really matter what you do, as long as you can build the habit of incorporating some movement that you enjoy a day, but then also you can realize you can build on it. If the gym and weights and a certain physique is a goal of yours, there are fantastic
there are
people
ways
that
to
you
do
can, go about that if just moving. So also kind of coming back to your why and what your goals are
Sure.
for that as well.
I cracked up when you said the gym thing because I was like, that's me. Like, I have gone so many times.
Oh my gosh.
And then if I ever go with someone, or if like I'm there and someone's like, oh, you should do this, I'm like, which one is that? Can you point it out?
Oh my gosh,
And
yes.
it's not like we haven't done those machines quite often. I
Totally.
just don't want to retain it. Like, that is not something I need to know
No,
outside of the gym.
and it's so funny because you're at the gym to get stronger, but if it's like really heavy to
I
move
know.
this seat,
I
I
know.
don't want to move the seat.
Oh my gosh, I know. I try to find people all the time. And then I started seeing all those videos where it's like, don't help her move. And I was like, that's why some
Yeah.
people won't help at the gym, right?
Oh,
So,
yes.
yeah, it is.
And I think group classes are fantastic. Those are my
Yes,
favorite.
yeah.
I have some group classes that I go to, and it's older women, it's
Yeah.
people from all walks of life, and so again, you can be like, if she can do it, I can do it. If she
Yeah,
can show up,
totally.
I can show up, and
Yeah,
just
seeing
another
those other
realm.
people to inspire you even at the gym.
Absolutely.
Right? Like, always finding an inspiration wherever you're at. Right?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
totally. Don't be a creepster and follow people in the grocery store, like aisle by aisle.
Right.
But, you can still see some habits that remind you of, oh, this is a way to stay on track.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think my running in the gym or that time, that's where I can listen to music, or listen to a book on tape, and so you can also like use that time
To do other things.
to maximize what other goals or what else you have in your day, or you can use it as a time to escape, like if your day's so busy, I'm gonna go have some fun just for me.
Yeah, just totally myself. Yeah,
Mhm.
I used to go. I would go down south like an hour,
Mhm.
then you work out an hour and come back an hour, and it seems like a lot. It is. It's like
Mhm.
3 hours, and then in Colorado traffic, it's just like,
Uh-huh.
why would you do that?
Right.
But I loved it for that mind space, like
Mhm.
being in my mind, that hour going down, and kind of just decompressing the
Mhm.
day,
Mhm.
and then vomiting the day over there, and
Mhm.
leaving it there and going
Mhm.
back. Like, that was a huge, just like unloading
Mhm.
somewhere else outside of my personal space.
And I think we're meant to sweat. We're
Yeah.
meant to be physical. We're meant to be active. And just because of our world, we can sit still for hours, and
Yeah.
we can be inside for hours. And
Yeah.
so I think there is a piece of us that does crave that time to just have some fun. Mhm.
Totally. So you are on social media, you've got a website, and I know this because I follow you on everything, but for those that are tuned in with us, if they are trying to find you on social media, let's tell them what platforms you're on, maybe what your handles are.
So I am Mackenzie Hill on Facebook. On Instagram, I am Double Fizzing. Fizz is our fun drink that replaces
Is
your
that what
soda.
Fizz is?
Yes, it
Okay.
replaces your soda, your coffee, your energy drinks, and I usually always have 2 at a time, or I have my Fizz in one bottle and my greens or my shake in another bottle, so I just always am juggling, and so
Okay.
it just felt fitting.
That is very cool. That is awesome.
So Double Fizzing, but Mackenzie Hill on Instagram as well. And I do have a website for our company, but I just love hearing other people's stories. So many people are, I think, grabbing a hold of health right now, and what it can lead to and how it can stir up other goals, and
Oh, it
it's
plays a
just
big part.
inspiring.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool, and I love it because, like I said, it was not me, not what I was
Yeah.
looking for one bit, and so to see other people at all different parts of their journey. It's so fun to connect.
That's awesome. Well, you can find Mackenzie on Facebook, you can find her on Instagram, and then what we'll try and do later is probably drop in the chat a link to your website so that they can find you as well.
Awesome.
Was there anything I didn't get a chance to hear from you that you were wanting to share with the group before I start winding us down?
What would I like to share? I think just realizing that what's great about leaning into your health, if you want to lean into your life in any other areas, the domino effect and the ripple effect that can come from just having that morning routine, or just having like, man, I'm gonna switch up the habit and the discipline and the confidence that it can build. All of us are meant to live really big, extraordinary, wonderful lives, and we're created on purpose for a purpose. And when you feel good and you can lean into that, there are no limits for what is possible for you and where you can go and what it can lead to. And I think the fitness space used to just be for fitness models or athletes or whatever, but now business owners pay attention to their health and their fitness, and just moms and the everyday person want to pay attention to their fitness and their health. And so it's a wonderful, wonderful journey to lean into, to dig into, to be proud of, and to really go for. And so whatever it is, just I encourage you to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Mackenzie, for taking some of these rapid fire questions, answering them super well, and just giving everyone a glimpse into why I just am so inspired and energized with your presence, and hopefully that they can be just as energized to look at their own health and wellness after this. Look you up on social and find you doing those amazing shakes in the morning. They look awesome. Oh my gosh, every shake she makes, I'm just like, that looks like like what else is in there? Like, tell me what is in there. So I mean, the stuff that you come up with, you infuse it and you live and breathe this health and wellness mindset. And you know, you don't have to live health and wellness all the time, but having it be a dominant part of your life is so important, as you shared in so many parts of your life. So if you haven't already, like the video, comment on it, make sure that you share this out. I can't believe that we have already almost been catching up for an hour.
Oh my gosh.
Which is crazy, but not surprising, because we generally spend like a couple hours at a time. So this was like only, you know, it was aired, but it was really us catching up on all things that have been going on for both of us. And again, this was Mackenzie. Mackenzie is the Regional Vice President for Arbonne. You can find her on Facebook. You can find her on Instagram. If you enjoyed this broadcast, let us know. We will be back on here next Friday. And, you know, we have our guests all planned through even February, which is super exciting. This next guest is going to be Jacqueline. And Jacqueline is she just hit 6 years with her own business, a small local business that's here in the Urbana area. And that's all I'll tell you from now, because I don't want to spoil it. But she has gone through her fair shares of that entrepreneurial journey of getting started and being in such a niche industry that it was, how do you even keep it going during COVID? It was so weird, but she did, and she did it successfully. So excited to have her on here with us next Friday at 1 o'clock Mountain Time. Thank you so much to everyone that's tuned in, to those of you that watch it later on, whether it's morning, afternoon, or evening, or you just watched it right now and wanted to watch it later. This video will be up at any point in time for you to enjoy. So with that, I think we're going to go ahead and close out.
Thank you, Juliet.
Thank you.